All right, people, what is going on? Back with another episode 399 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I mean, we're one away from 400, and today we're going to get into Georgia Southern Sun Belt Media Day recap. I'm gonna give you my thoughts and opinions. I just got finished listening to it for the first time, but prior to starting the show, because I wanted to give you fresh thoughts and opinions about it. I want to let you guys know first and foremost. I want to thank you guys. We're really close to 400 episodes, and it's been a really good ride for the past year or so. When I started doing the show Monday through Friday, before I say anything else, I want to thank DJ and Bills Forth. Those two guys basically started the show with me, and they pretty much help upstart where this show is now. I mean, it's a whole different format, but those guys were great, sacrificing time to, do the show, whatever the case may be. They both went on to do different things, but I always take the time to thank those guys for helping start this show. So I appreciate those guys very, very much. And also I want to thank you guys for, watching day in and day out. You guys are amazing for the support, the sharing, the liking, the subscribing, the 5-star ratings that you guys give, the feedback. I can't thank you guys enough. So I plan on doing something really different for episode 400. I'm probably going to do a Q&A. So on my Twitter, which is at VFBaller, I will put the link down into the description, and also I'll probably put a poll up on the community tab on YouTube so you guys could find out where I am and give me some questions which you may want to want to ask, because I basically just going to do a Q&A for episode 400. It can arrange on all type of topics under the Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons umbrella. So let me know what you guys think, and we'll just go from there. All right, enough of all of that. Once again, thank you guys. If this is your first time here, welcome. This is the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. I can be found on YouTube, Rumble, Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. And it's just a great time right now. The media day was yesterday for Georgia Southern. They had some questions and answers. I'm not going to talk about too much as far as sound bites or whatever, but I'm just going to give you my thoughts and opinions of the Q&A that they had during media day. First and foremost, if you've been following the show, it's not much different than what you've already heard from the coaches. It is good for them to be on a bigger platform to speak on what Georgia Southern's about, because a lot of people look at Georgia Southern and they give us a very mediocre shake at the Sun Belt title. And I understand it. It's a transition from what we used to do to what we're doing now. I mean, a whole different coaching staff, a lot of different players. A lot of players that are going to be here going to be significant skill players. So it's going to be a little bit different when it comes to actually, playing football for Georgia Southern. Now, with that being said, I think what we have here, I think it's going to make the transition extremely fast. And I think it's going to be extremely efficient. I think a lot of people who are thinking that it's going to be another 3-9 season is going to be in a rude awakening. I kind of respect the 5-7, 6-6, 7-5 talk. I kind of respect that because it's realistic. With all the changes in the new coaching staff and all, it's realistic. Now, I'm already out on a limb just saying that this team is going to be, I already said that this team is going to be 8-4. I already said that. This team's going to be 8-4. I firmly believe that, and I'm sticking with it. I think with the team that we have now and the way that this team is built, I think we can win 8 games this season. Now, Coach Helton was asked a few questions about the location, how things were between, compared to LA to Statesboro. He talked about the mentality that he's bringing to the team and what type of scheme that they want to run with this team. And like I said, if you've been on the show, watch this show, is nothing new to what we already talked about. Coach Helton wants to run a balanced attack. He wants to run the ball between the tackles and be physical, but he also realized, like he said, he wants to throw the ball down the field. He know at the FBS level, the passing game has to be something of it has to be something of, significance. And I know a lot of people from the old guard who are used to running the triple option being very, very effective with it. And there's nothing wrong with that because the triple option was very effective in the FCS days. We also have to realize when you move up to the next level, we have to move and change with the times. And I'm all for it. So when you already have good athletes and all good receivers, like Coach Helton did say in the presser, all you need is really a decent and a solid quarterback. And that's where Cal Vantrease came in. Cal Vantrease came from Buffalo, and one thing that Coach Helton and Cal Vantrease said is that when they visited Georgia Southern, it felt like a place to be. It felt like home. It felt like football. It's one thing about being in Statesboro and being on Georgia Southern campus, even as a student that you may not know nothing about football. If you're at Georgia Southern, you smell football in the air. It's just there. I mean, it's always been. It's just something about that area off of 301 in Statesboro, Georgia. It's just something about it that just oozes football. You just have to be there to understand it. So this is why a lot of kids like Colton Fitzgerald, or when you see Terrence Gibbs, the 4-star running back, or you have all these other guys who come to Statesboro and basically don't want to leave. And I'm not just talking about the kids, even the parents who are there, they turn into GATA moms almost instantly when they come to Statesboro. It's not necessarily, and it has something to do with the recruiting of Coach Clay Helton, or even the former coaches that was there, the Chad Lunsfords of the world. Will Fritz. It has something to do with the coaching and recruiting, but it's just something about that area. It's always been that way. I mean, even before I went to the school, and I was just going to some of the games as, when I was in high school, or when, me and a couple of my friends went to games back in the day. Georgia Southern it's football. We talk about the other sports, and other sports are absolutely phenomenal at Georgia Southern, but Georgia Southern football, the campus is football. It is what it is, but I can ramble about that for a long time. Nevertheless, when you talk about the culture and how things being done by the coaching staff, Cal Vantrease comes in and says he loves what the coaching staff is doing, bringing a new staff in, but he realized that the team is being built by the players. The players are stepping up and bringing the culture, the newfound culture of Georgia Southern to the team. He's bringing the culture to the team. And that's another thing that makes it really special, because when he comes in and brings his leadership, you have a Dillon Sprinkle, which I'll talk about him in a second. He brings his leadership. Even, the recently retired J.D. King, what he was able to do in this transition. And a lot of people don't realize J.D. King was really, helpful throughout even the 3-9 season into this off season, getting players together to learn about being a Georgia Southern football player. And when you have this mentality, and you have, just the atmosphere of being a good, not just a good man or a player on the field, when you have the culture to actually have other players around to be successful as well, it just brings a good culture. It brings a good vibe. It brings a situation where you want to play for this team and you want to be successful. And I think, what these guys are trying to accomplish, I think it can bring that level of success. Now with Dillon Springer, he comes in and he also talks about the culture. And one thing that he said that what he learned about Coach Helton's, when Coach Helton came into Statesboro and he had a conversation with Coach Clay Helton, said they talked about 1 or 2 hours, and I could believe that. Coach Helton seems like the type of guy that can talk football all day long, and it's really amazing. And when he got out of that conversation with Clay Helton, with Coach, he knew that this is what he wanted to do. He wanted to return for his final season and play football, or for another season and play football under this coach. And it just goes to show you what this team is about. Not what this team is about, but what this coach and his coaching staff is about. They want players to come in and play football. They want them to be their best. They want them to exceed and succeed at the highest level possible wearing the blue and white. I think Dillon Springer, what he's going to bring to the table with not only just what makes him special, not only with what he's, trying to buy into what Coach Helton is doing, but for him to be around from the old, staff to the new staff, and he saw so much within his six. I don't know if he's been here for the entire six. I can't remember, but for the years he's been here, from the old coaching staff to the new staff, he brings another level, another set of eyes that is somewhat different from what the coaching staff have now, because he see what it's like to be a Georgia Southern Eagle. Some things that Coach Clay Helton and Matt Merritt and the defensive coordinator and all the other guys, Applin and all the other guys that are here, he may already have shown and told them things that they may not know about the culture and the lifestyle of being in Statesboro as a coach or as a player or just an individual, because it's a different style. I can say it's a different style. It's a different way of life being a Georgia Southern Eagle. I've been to different campuses, and like for instance, I've been, and I'm here in Columbia, South Carolina. I've been to the Gamecocks, South Carolina Gamecocks campus. I've been there. It doesn't feel like a football town. Yes, they have a very, very immaculate, stadium, William Bryce Stadium, and but it doesn't feel like a football campus. It's basically, the campus is basically like downtown. The stadium is right next to a fairground, which is, it doesn't have a football atmosphere. I guess that makes sense. When you go to Paulson Stadium, you can look all around that area, the pubs and the little small, the small houses and the apartment complexes. It just seems like everybody around that area just waiting for kickoff, So, like I said, once again, it's just the atmosphere and the lifestyle that, Dillon Springer may know about, that's just going to give off a different type of perspective. And for him to come in and wanting to play once again, it shows the younger guys as well, like, hey, if he's going to be around, this is another reason why I want to be here. And, it's just a beautiful thing. There's not many other questions that was really put out there when it comes to the media day recap. It was a really good showing of Georgia Southern, and the things that was said was really good. But if you've been on this show, you kind of already know what was said, because I always talk about it. I always talk about when it comes to Coach Clay Helton and what he's bringing to the table and what he's been able to transition over to within the last 6, 7, 8 months from November, bringing guys in, recruiting at a high level. And one thing that he did say, and I didn't even know this, they went to 159 counties back in January, all 159 in the state of Georgia. And I'm not really sure if this is accurate. Maybe he's just saying it just in conversation or answering the question. There was rumbling saying they did it again in May. So not only that they went through all 159 counties back in January, which I talked about that extensively, and I thought it was really impressive, they did it for a second time around 5 months later, which is really, really cool. They're trying to get themselves entrenched in the state of Georgia when it comes to recruiting at a high level. Now, I want to say this. I want Georgia Southern to get to a point where we can compete with the Georgia Bulldogs. And I know that's a very, 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 very far-fetched statement. I think that we're too far gone. I think Georgia's too far gone when it comes to that. With them winning a national title, it's going to be very difficult to even come close to that. But I still stand by, I want Georgia Southern to be the second best football team in the state of Georgia. And I think we are very, very close to doing that. I really don't look at Georgia Tech as being anything. If any team that I really see a threat to that is Georgia State, I'm actually impressed with what they have done over there. I still want to kick them around, in turn of field. But I do respect the transition that they have done from being in the FCS to the FBS. But I think with the coaching staff we have, I think we're going to be able to achieve that second best team in the state status. I think we will. What we've done is only the beginning. What Coach Helton has done is only the beginning when it comes to actual recruiting, bringing that mentality, bringing players in that's going to be successful. Now, you look at all these other guys that, Coach Helton is recruiting. And I don't want to get into this too far. After Vantrease, you got Colton Fitzgerald right behind him. You got Zach Roseman. You got the Dallas brothers. You got Brooks Pango probably coming in. We have a plethora of quarterbacks that's going to be around, that's going to look really good. Connor Sigelski. I don't know where the quarterback situation is what it's going to be like in 2023, but we know that it's going to be, it's very much secured. We're in a really good situation right now when it comes to the quarterback position, and that's one thing that he emphasized heavily. From, the time that he was looking to be the coach at USC, and everything didn't pan out. But for the 7 years he was there, he was 46-24. That's not necessarily bad. Is it USC standards? That's debatable at this point, because USC does have a pedigree of winning national championships, but they haven't done anything in like 12, 13, 15 years. Whatever the case may be, whatever. I don't even want to talk about that team at the end, to be honest with you. But with him having that pedigree to have success starting at the quarterback level, and the offensive coordinator he brought in to actually have success at the quarterback level and running an offense that's going to be, very friendly to getting, moving the ball down the field, we're going to be in a really good shape at the quarterback and offensive position. And this is why I say I think we're going to shock a lot of people. I think a lot of people are going to take us lightly. And I think we're going to win 8 games. And before I close, once again, I think I said it already, I'm going to say this. The defensive side of the ball, Will Harris, the defensive coordinator, with the Dillon Springer and Justin Ellis and Todd Bradley Glenn and Derek Canteen, Mari Wingard from Elon, Tyler Bride, we're going to have a lot of players. I'm not really sure. Is Justin Birdsong still on the team? I can't remember. I hope he is. I like that kid a lot. But it just crossed my mind. I didn't know. But when you look at this defense, this defense already was good. The defense kept us in a lot of games over the last 3-4 years. The 3-9 season last year was basically because we had too many people injured. You got to understand, Tyler Bradley, Glenn went down, not Quinn Williams, but Watson, Trent Watson, I think he went down with an injury. We Derek Canteen, one of the most notable injuries. We had a lot of injuries, but the defense always been in a position to keep us close in games. But I think now we're going to be in a situation where, with strength and conditioning, with one of the first things Dillon Springer talked about was strength and conditioning. I think this is going to be a totally different situation. Injuries do happen in football. It's a part of the game, and I'm pretty sure some will happen, but I don't think it's going to be to the extent where it was last year. It was pretty bad, and I think we're also going to be in a position to shock a lot of people once again on the defensive level, and this is another reason why I say 8 wins, because a lot of people are looking at our team and not really grasping what this team is about. This is about, to go back what I said in another episode, and I said this on Twitter as well, you can't listen to a lot of outsiders about your team. If you know your team, you know where your deficiencies are. Our deficiencies on the offensive line. Yes, it could get better, but they're really young and they need to learn how to pass block. So that's where our deficiencies are. I'm still kind of skeptical, with the secondary. Even with Derek Canteen, what the secondary is going to be like without Dal Baker, and what it's going to be like with a lot of new faces. My favorite recruit that came in, Ashton Whitner, I believe he's going to have to step up early, and I think he will. But when you have freshmen in, it causes some form of question marks. So I think we're going to be okay at the end of the day. I have no real concerns, but I know where we lack at. Hopefully we'll be able to overcome that and maybe win more than 8 games. Yeah, maybe I'm talking too much right there. Maybe I'm going too far with that. But nevertheless, I love what the recap, I love what the media day, the questions and answers was. I think they did a phenomenal job. Shout out to Coach Clay Helton, Kyle Vantrease, and Dillon Springer. I think they did a phenomenal job representing Georgia Southern. I think they did a really good job answering the questions. And I love these type of media days because the questions that was asked were very good. Shout out to the media as well. Very good questions. There wasn't many gotcha questions, any weird questions, unlike, the Atlanta Falcons media. My God, sometimes those questions are just horrible. But that's another story for another day. Shout out to the media and everything. I think they put on a very professional show. It looked really, really good. So that's pretty much it for this episode. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. 399. Once again, man, I will put this out on my social media platforms. I'm definitely going to be doing a Q&A for episode 400. Give me all your questions. Let me know what you guys think. You can hit me up on Twitter at VFBaller. That's short for virtual footballer, VFBaller. You can find me. I'll have the link down in the description where you can give me your questions. I also will be putting up something in the community tab on YouTube. Give me your Q&A. Also, if you want to, give me your questions down in the comments of this video as well. Any questions that you have about Georgia Southern or Atlanta Falcons football, and we'll put it out there for you guys. For episode 400. I'll just thank you guys once again. Shout out to DJ and Bills for paving the way, and thank you guys for watching and supporting. I will see you guys on the next one in episode 400. Like I said, you guys take it easy. You guys be blessed. Peace.